iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto, get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. And as you guys, you've seen over the past couple of weeks, I've been interspersing some results of drafts with news. But today we're getting back to the previews, and we've got to get to the New York Football Giants. Now, a lot of people, and I want to talk about this. I think this is actually pretty important. A lot of people have a team, and I would say that the Giants are my team. I grew up a Giant fan. And I make no bones about that. They're my team. I also, I like the Steelers too when I was a kid. I loved Terry Bradshaw and Lynn Swann and Franco Harris and all those guys. The Steel Curtain. So if I had two teams, I would say it's the Giants and the Steelers. That said, I have changed over the years. Meaning, I care more about fantasy football than real life football. And Adam Ronis and I talk about this a lot on the radio. He's a Cowboy fan. He gets very upset if the Cowboys lose. Look, I'm upset if the Giants lose, but I'm more upset if my fantasy team loses. The Giants lose, 10 minutes later, I'm over it. My fantasy team loses, I'm stewing about it all night. So I can just tell you this. If you want to win your fantasy football league, you have to learn to disassociate yourself from your team. You like the Buccaneers, you like Jameis Winston, God bless, go buy a jersey. But that doesn't mean draft all Buccaneers. Right? You've got to do the right thing for your team. And I don't even know what I just meant by that. You've got to do the right thing for your team, meaning in fantasy football, not your real life team. Do I draft Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr.? Well, maybe if they're there, but I don't worry about the Giants. I don't worry about the Giants. I watch the Giants play. I enjoy watching the Giants, but for me, fantasy comes first. And I think that's something that everybody has to reevaluate for themselves. What's more important? Is it your team or your fantasy team? Can it be both? I guess so. But I'm not sure if it's both that you're going to be a consistent winner. I think one of the things that makes me a winner in fantasy is my dispassion towards my teams now. I don't care. Sure, I want the Yankees to win. Sure, I want the Giants to win. But if they don't, big deal. I want my fantasy teams to win. That's more important to me. So think about that question. Which team is more important to you? If it's your real life team, and you don't win your fantasy league, that might be the reason. It might be the reason. So even though the Giants are my team, I can tell you that there are a lot of pluses and minuses to this team. First of all, they are absolutely stacked on offense. Stacked. And they did something this offseason which I didn't even expect them to do. They signed Brandon Marshall, and then they drafted Evan Engram, which doesn't seem to make a lot of sense when their offensive line was horrific. Horrific. Eli Manning had 0.2 seconds to throw the football. But they worked on their offense. So let's break down their offense. Let's start with Eli Manning. Now look, you may not like Eli Manning. There's a story I read one somewhere, so I like to relay it. The Manning family would say they'd go out for dinner, and if Peyton ordered a steak and he ordered it medium, and it came out well done, he'd be pissed off, send it back, make me a new one. If Eli ordered a steak and they brought out chicken, he'd go, I'll eat it. That's like Eli Manning. He has this amazing ability to brush things off. Bad pass, it's over. Interception, don't worry about it. I kind of like that quality. He just kind of looks for the next play. It never really phases him. He never looks phased out there. Now, Jay Cutler, Grumpy Cat, he looks disinterested. Eli doesn't look disinterested. He just doesn't let it faze him. He moves on to the next play. Eli Manning is probably my favorite backup quarterback in fantasy football. Now, I can tell you this. I'd rather not have Eli Manning as my starter every week. I think I won an online championship last year with Eli, but, I don't know. You just can't rely on him week in, week out. Like last year, 199, 194, 195, 193, 201, 180. Had a lot of bad games. And then he had 368, 350, 356, 403. He's got some good games and bad games. I find him too inconsistent. So I like him as a bye-week fill-in, an injury replacement, my QB2. I don't want him as my QB1. I just don't trust him enough. But a QB2, no problem. So, can you win a league with Eli Manning? Maybe, if the rest of your team is good, but I just don't love him. The Giants' running game, I'm a little concerned about Paul Perkins. I'm concerned for a couple of reasons. One, the Giants really do like Shane Vereen. Now, Shane Vereen was out last year with a tricep injury, a torn tricep. But he was getting, and I'm just going to read these numbers for you, 3 weeks, right? Rushing, forget receiving. 6 for 38, 14 for 42, 11 for 67, and a touchdown. What does that tell me? He was a big part of this offense. I think he will continue to be a big part of this offense. I think the Giants brought him over from New England thinking that this guy's legit. Now, that said, I still like Paul Perkins, and I saw enough of him in college to think he's real deal. And there's got to be a way to integrate these two guys. Paul Perkins is the better runner. Shane Vereen is the better receiver. I want to see Perkins on first and second down. I have no problem seeing Vereen on third down. No problem with that. And then I see Vereen. Vereen is like, to me, what Danny Woodhead was a few years ago. Vereen should be the kind of guy who gets about 50 to 60 receptions and then maybe about 70 to 100 rushing attempts. So he's there in the 2-minute drill. He's there in short yardage situations. He's there in goal line situations. Like, he's out there. But his main thing is to run. Is to run plays that involve the catching, and of course to pass block, to pass protect, which they need. Perkins is the first and second down back, and Vereen is the third down back. That seems to make the most sense to me. Now there's Orleans Darkwa there, whatever. Wayne Gallman was good in Clemson, but I just don't see it. I see him being a third guy. God forbid Perkins gets hurt. Maybe Darkwa and Gallman, split some carries. But I think for PPR purposes, I may like the value on Vereen more than I do on Paul Perkins. I took Paul Perkins the other night in the 8th round of a draft. I probably could have gotten Vereen in round 14. Let me see something here. Somebody sent me an online draft last night. Let me see. One of my friends sent it to me. Shane Vereen. My friend got Shane Vereen in round 14. Yeah, I like it. Paul Perkins went in round 7. I like Vereen in round 14 more than Perkins in round 7. I do. A lot more. A whole lot more. So, think about that when you're drafting. Not that I don't like Perkins, but I like the value on Vereen better. I'm going to go to tight end first, then I'll work my way back to wide receiver. The tight end is Evan Engram. Evan Engram is a special player, but it's not going to happen for him right away. Coming from Ole Miss, the kid ran a 4.44, right? He was more like a receiver than he was a tight end in college. He really just had one big year last year, 2016. There's a lot of work to be done here. He is a crappy blocker. This guy has the makings of, in 3 years, he will be a legit NFL tight end. Might we see him have some success this year? Mildly. He'll be out there on obvious passing downs. But you may still see Rhett Ellison. You may still see Will Tye. You may see these other guys because they're better blockers. Now, what do I like about Engram? Engram is going to work the middle of the field. Right? He's going to work the middle of the field. What I also like about Engram is that he's going to pull a linebacker to cover him. What the Giants have done, and now I'm going to get to wide receiver, by bringing in Brandon Marshall and drafting Evan Engram, the Giants have created a way for Odell Beckham Jr. Roto not to get double and triple teamed. Because that was what was happening. And if you look at Beckham, so here's some numbers, right? 8 targets, 4 receptions. 9 targets, 3 receptions. 12 targets, 5 receptions. 10 targets, 4 receptions. 11 targets, 6 receptions. 20 targets, 11 receptions. Now, he had some great games. I mean, don't get me wrong. He had about 4 or 5 great games, and Beckham will win you 4 or 5 weeks on his own. But he was getting covered double and triple teamed. Now with Brandon Marshall there and Evan Engram there, defenses have to cover them. So you've got Beckham, Marshall, Shepherd. You cannot triple team Beckham. You could triple team him last year because Will Tye was a non-entity. Stirling Shepherd was a rookie, so all the attention went to Odell Beckham Jr. Roto. This year, with Marshall out there and Engram out there, Beckham will see more looks and better looks. So I really do like him a lot this year. A lot. Not a little, a lot. Now, Brandon Marshall, he's not going to see as many catches as he's seen in the past. I mean, Brandon Marshall's been over 100 catches. Since 2012, he's been over 100 receptions 3 out of the last 5 years. I don't think that happens this year. I think this year I see him getting about 60, 70 receptions. That sounds about right to me. I'll say about 65, maybe for 800 yards, 5, 6 touchdowns. It's not going to be what Brandon Marshall does statistically. It's about him on the field that will make Beckham better. Now, I think Marshall may be overdrafted. I do. I'm not sure he's a 900-yard guy. So he's going, where did he go in this draft last night? Brandon Marshall, one moment please. Please hold. Thank you for holding. Where did he go? He went in the 5th round as the 30th receiver. Yeah, I don't know about that. But he's going in where Sanders and Diggs, that's where he's going. I don't know, Garcon and all those guys. I think I take Marshall after all those guys. I like Diggs more. I like Sanders more. I like Garcon more. I like Edelman more. I just like them more. Not that I don't like Marshall, but you have Beckham. Now, Stirling Shepherd, to me, is a really good value. Now, looking here last night, he went in round 12. I love that pick. Now, I would have liked that pick more by the team who has Marshall or the team who has Beckham. So, in round 11, the team that had Beckham picked Cole Beasley. I might have picked Shepherd, and here's why. God forbid Beckham gets hurt, Shepherd's going to be great. God forbid Marshall gets hurt, Shepherd's going to be great. Right? So I'm almost drafting Shepherd as a handcuff there. Now, Shepherd's going to have some rough weeks. I don't think he's ever going to see more than like 5 targets a week. I really don't. But he could go 4 catches per week. It's possible. Right? 16 times 4, 64 catches. That's possible. Right? If he goes 64 catches for 700 yards and 5, 6 touchdowns, not a bad player. But he could be better than that. He could be better than that if one of those guys gets hurt. So I like him as insurance. I think he's really good insurance. So as for the Giants kicker, I don't even know who it is today. I mean, I know they signed Mike Nugent. There's this kid, Aldrich Rosas. I don't know. Just wait on the Giants. Okay? Wait on that. So Eli's okay, more of a backup. Perkins is okay. Vereen, I love the value on Vereen. I love the value on Shepherd. Beckham is great, a superstar. Marshall, I think, is overdrafted. And I think Evan Engram is a bust. Now, Evan Engram is not a bust in real life. He's just going to be a fantasy bust because I think he's going to do nothing this year. So he's a first-round pick. I love him. Giants lied. They need a tight end, blah, 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 blah. Eli throws to the tight end. You're not going to throw to Engram when you have Beckham, Vereen, Marshall, and Shepherd. You're just not. So I think he's a fantasy bust this year because if you're expecting 50 catches, I don't think you get it. I don't think you get it. All right, speaking of not getting it, I'm looking at an online championship draft last night, and somebody took Rob Gronkowski at 9. Dude, what are you doing? This is not a standard league. This is not a league where tight ends get 1.5 points per reception. What are you doing? Please, I beg you out there. I beg everyone who's listening. Do not take Rob Gronkowski in the first round of any draft. Please, just don't do it. There's so many good tight ends. Round 10 was Eric Ebron. Round 10 was Delaney Walker. Round 10 was Martellus Bennett. Jack Doyle was round 12. Austin Hooper was round 14. You don't need Gronk there. Please, stop the madness. You're just throwing away your money. I mean, seriously, I always talk about a holy roster. Here's this guy's team. He took Matt Ryan in round 5. Oh my God. Lynch and Blunt. That's your running backs. Hilton, Fitzgerald, Cobb, Sanu. You have issues. Then this same team, I don't even know who this guy is. I'm not calling him out. I'm just saying he takes 2 defenses. Do you think one defense is going to get hurt? One defense. One defense. One kicker. That's all you need. One defense, one kicker. Drafting more than that, you've just pissed money away. Please, don't do that. And if you have questions, that's why we're here at Scout Fantasy. Enter the promo code Roto 2017, ROTO 2017. Ask me the questions. Dr. Roto, I'm feeling a little insane today. I'm thinking of taking 2 defenses. I will tell you not to do that. I will tell you not to do that. So please, 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 please don't do that. It's cray-cray. Seriously, it's cray-cray. I don't want you to lose your leagues. I want you to win. Okay? I want you to win your leagues. Now, if you're going to play leagues, I want you to go to play FFWC. Somebody's like, Dr. Roto, do you have any strategy for the Fantasy Football Players Championship? I said, no. I don't. They're nice guys who run that league, whatever. I don't like 1.5 points for a tight end, and I don't like 11 game weeks. I like the Fantasy Football World Championships. I like play FFWC. I like the extra flex player. I don't like a 3rd round reversal, and I don't like giving up points to a tight end. I don't like things like that. So please, if you're going to pay a lot of money for high stakes, do it the right way. Do our leagues. FFWC. Play FFWC.com. Online championship, starter leagues, main event. It's where the best players play. All right? That's what we do. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Back tomorrow with the JETS, Jets preview. I know Scott Atkins will be listening. He wants to hear about Robbie Anderson, as I know you do as well. All right, guys, wishing you a great day. Be well and take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!